Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. We're using this super fun technique that I love to create this mystical forest, spring forest. It's a wet and wet technique that a lot of artists use, but I love to use it also so that the paper stays wet longer and that you can create some really cool effects with it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and if you're a Patreon member, you get the extended version. If you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box below to join my Patreon and hear all about it, where you get weekly exclusives, all kinds of extra stuff there that you don't get on YouTube. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, so I'm going to give you some supplies that I'm using to create this. I'm just using Arch paper, 100% cotton cold press. I took a big, like a 9x12, just folded it in half, and this is just like a piece of, basically it is a plein air, portable plein air easel, part of it, and it's plastic. But you could easily use a plastic, clipping board here, or you can buy plexiglass on Amazon, stuff like that. We'll mix our colors in a few seconds, but it's good to have either a sea sponge or a big old wide brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to wet the back and then wet the front, and it stays really wet longer. We also want a credit card that's cut like kind of like this size with the corner, the round corner. We'll be playing with that. So before we get this wet, we're going to mix up some color first. Just grab any brush you have. Prussian blue, really beautiful thick Prussian blue. A little bit of yellow. We want some deep greens here. We'll do some light greens too. And I always grab a little bit burnt umber to just tone down that blue out of there. It's a deep kind of forest green color right there. A little bit more burnt umber to get rid of that blue tinge. You want a light green, obviously the same thing. We just add a little bit of yellow. I already had some of this green on my brush, so we get this nice light yellowish green. Okay, simple as that. You can loosen up some peacock and get even brighter green and play around with that. All right, so we're taking a big brush or a sea sponge. I'm gonna flip over our Arch paper. I'm going to get this wet, just like so. Not soaking, well, it's pretty wet, but you want to get it pretty wet. The whole, the whole entire sheet. Get it wet. And then when you're going to flip it to your plastic, lovely vessel, it will stick. And now we're going to wet this side. What happens is that it remains kind of damp for a longer period of time, as opposed to wet on wet on a block or taping down dry paper. So see, now both sides are completely saturated. Voila. And now you can play with this. Now I'm going to grab my 16-inch round Neptune series brush, get it wet, and start with my lighter green color. Just kind of swoop it like this, just like that, the lighter green color, leaving a little white in here. You want that clean white. You can actually blend it even more by just adding some water, but you really just want a light green tingy color there. If you wanted to add some more blue, like turquoise, you can add some peacock in here, just like that. Now I'm going to grab our darker green on both sides, like this. It still doesn't seem super dark to me. So we are going to get more paint, thicker Prussian blue, the burnt umber, and the yellow, really thick. You even grab some lunar black or Payne's gray. I gotta find my lunar black. But I have time. This is another weird color. Hematite. I don't know. This is from Daniel Smith. So hematite genuine. I'll throw that in there. Still has a blue tinge to it, so maybe I'll grab some burnt sienna. I'm trying to get rid of that blue tinge. There we go. Oh yeah. Just getting this really dark. Gonna make that color even darker. The one I just told you about from Daniel Smith. And it's a granulating color, I think. And I'm looking for that. Looks like a vortex, right? In the woods. I'm gonna add some more burnt umber. Way more burnt, oh, even burnt sienna. And that Prussian blue. I'm just gonna change that color again, see? Now, it's pretty dark. Going a dark forest kind of a thing happening here. I'm gonna just clean up my brush a bit. And I'm gonna mix these colors. So I get like a more of a medium green, maybe grab a little bit more yellow. Kind of throw that in here. You can start to play with if you want to put an evergreen in. So take the tip of your brush, kind of go down and wiggle back and forth. It will really be muted, obviously. You can get a smaller brush and do that. So it's kind of like peeking through the forest. Get a little bit darker. I don't want it too dark though. The darker paint doing the same thing, wiggling back and forth with that line. Right? The vortex. So the paint is starting to seep into the paper. I'm grabbing a little bit more just yellow. Can play with this. Put a line down and kind of wiggle this out here. And do little taps, because not all the trees are going to be like pine trees. Want real kind of birch trees kind of happening here. I'm going to grab more of this color. I want it a little bit deeper on the corner. So thick burnt sienna, burnt umber and Prussian blue. Kind of really dark in the corner. Right? Looks like a forest in the background. This little goofy right here. If you don't like that, you can kind of play with it. You can kind of just lift or move that paint around. And just put little dots. So this could be leaves coming off in the distance. Because we are going to be playing with scraping this. Now, the timing is everything. I know it's difficult. When you want to scrape with the credit card, you want to make sure that it's damp, not wet. If it's wet, it's a great time to play where it folds back into the paper, right? And you can create some really great branches or whatnot. But if you want to actually see like the birch tree, the white, I'm going to play with this color. I don't want it going goofy like this. So I'm going to kind of play with moving this a little bit. You can remove it if you want to or not. Just removing some of that color. Doesn't it look like a forest already? So I'm letting it seep in, having a grand old time. I can still see that it's super, super wet. You can play with it a little bit and see. Do a small little branch here. Is it folding in? It's kind of folding and kind of holding its shape. Still, like I said, when you do this wet on the back, wet in the front, it stays wet. It stays wet much longer. So the timing of this is going to be even longer. By the way, I'll take the little teeny pointy part of this and start to make branches. This part with scrapes. See, it's folding back into it. So you can tell that it's too early to scrape it yet. You're going to have to wait. I'm going to do a big old scrape like a big old tree in here. And so if I do that now, it will fold in. I have to give it a few more minutes. All right, it's still damp. You can see that it's got a little sheen. It's still damp. I am going to try and go for it. This is very wet. I can still, I really see it shiny here. So going there would be an issue. And you're going to take the corner. I'm going to push down. I'm really going to push the paint out and hoping for the best, crossing my fingers, right? There we go. Worked. Scraping that paint off. Wonderful. And then we can do maybe a little bit more on this side. Or if I go like this and scrape it. To do another small one in the background. Have some branches coming off it. Try to get that one. I should have got it in one swoop, but you know, what can I tell you? And now we'll do this one. Right? Did our best. Can try and scrape it off again. And do another tree in here somewhere. Not bad. And do some small ones. Coming up. We'll fix the bottom. You can have it actually coming way down here. Little teeny scrapes on that. So that's like in the woods. The trees are kind of still dark. They are supposed to be a little bit whiter, but you know, sometimes it happens. You could mask it out, but nah. And little birches back here hanging out. And you can get the branch out here and off that. It's kind of fun. You have to time it. Like I said, it's when it's damp, not wet. Right? And you can still see a lot of this green in here. You're not going to get the white. Sometimes you can get the white. Sometimes you can't. I've got this green here. See if I can scrape some of this off. Still looks very mystical and mysterious, isn't it? Loving it. You can even scrape up some grasses here. Little skinny. I'm using the pointy side. See? Little skinny grasses. If you can see them, I'll pull it up close. Really skinny. See them on the bottom there? Super cool. Doesn't it look really zero super effort. Just all about timing. That's all it is. The key is the timing. Scraping some of that dark green off. Isn't that great? Now, it's still a little damp down here. We can play with something else. I have white watercolor here. Let's see if this will work. We'll do a little splatter on the bottom like there's like white daisies there. Just grab a nice simple round brush. Loosen this up. Only want to... This is pretty loose. I do like a little tap. Nope, I went up there too high. You can cover the top. I didn't want to get up there. It could probably dissipate and be fine. Or I could just go, whoops. Just kind of remove that. Take a piece of paper. I don't want to use my nice arch paper. I'll grab a piece of plain old white paper. Just kind of get this area only. Now I made a boo-boo there. That's no big deal. People don't freak out when things like this happen. Just kind of lift that paint. There we go. Okay. Little splashes. If you want bigger ones, you have to make the paint a little bit looser. See? And this is white watercolor. This is not gouache. So technically everything's watercolor. Look how cute that looks in the woods. Now you don't have to do this. It will dissipate because it's translucent. You can play with this white watercolor in some of your tree here. Kind of put some of that in here and that will highlight it. And now see, it's really loose, pretty wet, and it will be translucent. So, and you can put some of this in here. I'm using the number 8 long round from Princeton. Look how that shows up really intensely. And keep that dark shadow green color back here. We'll add some grays to it. But now you get this highlight of like the light coming here and highlighting the birch tree, the white in the front. Right? Now it looks like it's in the woods. Simple. We're going to add some little branches too and add some greens, because they wouldn't be evergreen on a birch tree. Nope. Another white watercolor. You can just kind of keep brush and go like this. A little dry brushing on those trees that maybe doesn't scrape enough white and they're very green. But you want that white light color. Very mystical forest. Love it. Very springy though. And don't be afraid, just because we have green and white. Add a little yellow. So I'll show you that in a second. Just adding the little white. So I've mixed up some ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna and make a nice gray, and I'm grabbing my number 4 liner brush and I'm putting in some branches off this now. I want this light kind of gray skinny little branches coming off these birch trees up here. Some can kind of bend down like that. The rest will go crisscross or up and over. And we'll add some nice little foliage on that as well. You could have them come a little bit darker on the side here. Just really simple skinny little branches going up to the top and crisscrossing around. And these little ones down here. You don't have to do a million of them, just a few. Just like that. See how that looks kind of fun. And I do like a little short jerky movement. Boop, boop. Touch, boom, and kind of go out like that. It's less goofy and easier to do. So you put those little branches in. Now we still have some of that light green. You can take whatever brush works for you. I'll grab back my number 12 Aqua Elite. Get this bright yellow, add a little bit of Prussian blue or even peacock blue. Get that chartreusey green. You can kind of dull it down with some of the colors over here that are brownish. And we're going to take that and just kind of tippy tap lightly. Maybe tap off some of the color and the edge of the trees. So we get some nice little greenery going. Not everywhere, but just kind of up here. So you can see that it's peeking through up to the tippy top. Because it is a springtime, spring, summerish kind of woodsy look to it. Put some little teeny ones down here. It's not fall. You could also splatter up there if it's easier for you to do that too. Just a little bit goes a long way. Okay. You can even use this a little thicker with yellow and kind of put some of that down here too. Just for a little variety. Last but not least, you can take the same brush and the same grays. Start to put some of those little cross lines on, a little thicker, darker too, on your birch trees. And so it's like gray but not super black. You can make it a little bit skinny. Don't do it like every soldier, like little short ones, a little bit of long ones. And then you have this wonderful, cute, woodsy kind of scene. Just simple. There's so many ways you can play this. You could have this background with blue. Maybe not do birch trees. You could have done some birch trees and some pine trees. Change it up. You know, change it up for yourself. Now I have to let this dry, but that's pretty much it. Now if you want, if your tree has dried and it's still too light, not enough white, you just go back in with your white watercolor again and add that really kind of fun highlight on the right side because remember the light's coming this way. It's going to be translucent, so it looks really bright white now, but it will fade. So don't be afraid of it. Because remember, that paper is still damp. Right? Once it dries. See how that nice highlight just on that left side? I mean, sorry, the right side on this one, left side on this one. It just adds a little something, depending on how much you want to put down. Get that highlight. Super fun. Didn't take much time. Try these techniques to create really cool forests or trees, or even like you could do flowers. Really come up with some really great stuff. You can do the same technique. Doesn't have to be trees, it can be flowers. So I hope you enjoyed it. Patreon members get the extended version. Super fun, super doable, super easy. If you let it dry on the actual plastic palette, it will dry super flat. So no need to worry about it buckling or anything like that. Super fun techniques. I hope you enjoyed them. Let me know. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.